Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, Happy New Year. Good to see everybody. There's so many here this morning. Welcome to Unity of Portland here, the Whitestone service. I want to start out this morning. My soul is welcome here. You can sing with us if you know the song. Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Yes, it is. I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. 2, 3, 4. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
All right, welcome. We welcome you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center, where we start and we begin our day. What would happen if we did every single day with "My soul is welcome here"? Right where I am, in this moment, in this breath, I'm exactly where I need to be, and I know that the pure potentiality of Spirit sources me this moment, this day, this breath to do all that is mine to do. And as we gather in that, we recognize that we're the channels. You know, Hafiz said, "I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness the astonishing light of your own being." I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness the astonishing light of your own being. As we gather this morning, we recognize that we create an energy field, I believe, of love. That's the only energy in the universe. It's what we're creating and holding. And so as we sit both in this room, and we welcome all of you who are part of our virtual family, we know that we create an energy. We create a consciousness, a collective consciousness. And what we're being asked to do is we evolve forward as we move through all of the stuff in our individual lives, in our collective journey right now, which is a fascinating one. We are invited to both be that channel and to be a part of a collective consciousness that holds a place, a center of truth. And so as we begin this service this morning, I just invite you, if by any chance life this week has gotten you out of your center of truth, anybody in here, I'm not even asking for hands, but you know, a few of us will hold up both of them. We've allowed ourselves to get outside of that. I just invite you to take a deep breath, come into your heart space, into your center, into a place that is literally ancient remembering. It is sacred remembering. And let's begin this service in prayer. Oh, infinite Spirit, we open. We open to a willingness to be the channel, to recognize that this one presence and one power, it lifts us, it loves us, it moves through us this day, and we are open and receptive to that living Spirit of truth that reminds each of us we are infinite, whole, and complete. And we know that as we encircle the globe, every being on this planet is that infinite light, that presence, that power. And all places are surrounded in that light. We surround those in pain, those that are hurting, those that are moving through weather experiences, separation, all of the pieces. We just simply hold and knowing and are a part of a collective energy of love. And we simply say yes to that movement of Spirit in and through and as us now. And we gather with a mindful breath to know that this is the moment that we are here to celebrate that love, that light, that presence. And so it is. Amen. And we are thrilled to have you with us. We are continuing to regather and put all different kinds of things in place. Next week, we will have much better places for you all to sit, and I appreciate you being right where you are. And Beth is going to share with us some of what's happening at Unity of Portland.
There's a lot happening at Unity of Portland. Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to introduce our prayer chaplains for today. If you would stand. Our prayer chaplains are the foundation of our ministry here. They do so much for us. They really, really do. We're so grateful for them. They are here to pray with you in person. If you have a prayer need, they're available following the service up here. If you're not ready to do that yet, there's prayer requests in the backs of the chairs. You can fill those out and drop them in the prayer box. They will hold those for 30 days. And they also do Dial-A-Prayer every week, which is a call-in number. You can call in. There's a wonderful inspirational message. If you need something to get you over the hump of the week, that's the number to call. We have those on little business cards, and they're out on the lobby table. So make sure you pick one of those up when you get a chance. We are having a stellar year of community building. I said that last week, and it's very true. Things are coming together in wonderful ways. There's a lot happening today following the service. We are kicking off our Path to Membership with a workshop that Lisa's doing following the service today. It is New Thoughts for a New Year. And if you're not familiar with Unity or you've got some questions about what Unity is, this is a wonderful place to come and get those questions answered. And it's also the first step on Path to Membership. So they're going to be meeting in the chapel today following the service. Next Sunday is new member orientation. If this is something that you've been considering, we have membership applications that are out on the table. You can also register online and in the newsletter. But next week is it's required for new members to attend the orientation prior to the new member service, which will be held on February 5th. So if this is a path you're on, please inquire about it, pick up your membership application, and we will get you on the list. The Care and Compassion group starts reconvening today. This is a wonderful support group that's going to be, today they're going to meet downstairs in the teen room. There's active listening, there's support through sharing, coping ideas, prayers. If there's something going on in your world and you feel like you need some support with it, this is a wonderful place to go and get that loving, compassionate listening and some wonderful ideas on how to turn things around. So you can join them today. That's pretty close after Coffee and Connection. I think they'll give you a chance to grab a coffee and a treat and meet them in the teen room down there. And of course, if you're not attending either one of those, you're invited to the undecorating party, which is going to start like at 12:02. We've staged all week. We've got our boxes and bins, and they're ready to go. And so anyone who's going to help us with that today, you get to come and have lunch with us following the service. So that's your special treat. And not only do our prayer chaplains pray, they cook. And they brought wonderful soup to share with everybody. So I know it will bless you, and you have blessed us. So we thank you for that. We have 4 new classes that are set to begin starting this week. Reverend Lisa's class on creative stress starts this Wednesday. She's going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of the announcements. But I want to let you know about books. The book is out of print. So Alice has been able to find 5 or 6 of them online, which is amazing. She's amazing. And we've also borrowed some from some older Unity students who've been around for a while, who've had them and had this book, Creative Stress, in their library by James O'Day. If you are one of those people and you have a copy of this, we would like to borrow it. And Alice is even willing to buy it from you. So if you have a copy of this, make sure you see her, and there's more coming on that Creative Stress, which starts this Wednesday. Alan Watson, our licensed Unity teacher who leads Course in Miracles on Tuesday, he's starting a class beginning Thursday evenings on January the 19th. It's also a hybrid class, and it's uncovering the original teachings of Jesus. And if you have some old ideas about Jesus, come and have those changed, because we got some good information for you, right? This is a whole new way to unravel those ideas that so many of us grew up with about Jesus. And this is honoring him as mystic, way shower, master teacher. So come and learn about that. That's going to be on Thursdays beginning January the 19th. And our own Reverend Dick Everts is hosting another Zoom class. He loves doing these. He's great. He always has a handful of people who love to do this. This is going to be on Tuesdays beginning January 24th, and they are going to be studying Living Untethered, which is a wonderful book by Michael Singer. So all of this information and more is on the lobby table. There is a new class that's also starting at the end of January. This is a year-long class. It's going to meet once a month. It's called A Year to Live, based on the book by the same name. There's a pamphlet out on the table which has detailed information, and I'd love for you to pick that up if this is something of interest to you. But they're going to meet once a month on Zoom. I think the first and sometime in the middle or the last, they're going to have 2 in-person meetings. But it's once a month, and then you'll do all the work in between the classes on your own at home. So that might be something that you want to think about. So something that many of you have been asking me is, when are we going to do another Name Tag Sunday, right? We started doing this last year. It was wonderful. In our efforts to decrease environmental trash with our weekly name tags, we invite you to come on the last Sunday in January and make your own name tag. And our own Drew Rain has created these, and she will have a table set up. And you can come, you can use your pronouns on them. We encourage you to do that. This is a high demand event. We usually have a line before and after the service. So I'm inviting you, if you're good with a glue gun. Oh, we don't even have to use a glue gun. If you're a crafter, if you're handy, come and see Drew. Drew, stand up so they know who you are. Come and see Drew. She's wonderful. She will figure out how to put you to work with this. But it is helpful if we have a couple of volunteers at the table to keep that line moving. So consider that. These are all wonderful upcoming things. There's lots of details in your newsletter. Make sure you're getting that. And this is the time where I'd like to welcome you if you're here for the first time. Many of you pick up a welcome packet on your way in, but maybe you didn't. Our ushers are coming forward with our welcome packets. If this is your first time, raise your hand. We'd love to give you a welcome you to our community. We're so glad that you're here today. Yes, we invite you to fill out this neon card. This will get you on our mailing list, our email newsletter mailing list, and it will have all of the upcoming events in it and where you can sign up for things. There's a rose sticker on the front, and we'd love you to peel that and stick it to your clothing so we know who you are and can welcome you properly. And we also invite you to come down for coffee and connection. It's a wonderful time of fellowship that we have every Sunday after the service. Get a cup of coffee, make new friends, meet a few people, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. I hope you all have a great week. Thanks.
Thank you. We have our own resident comedian. Thank you, Beth. You make announcements fun. And I just want to share a couple things. First of all, the reason that I'm doing the workshop this afternoon, New Thoughts for a New Year, is I shifted it. It's not just a membership class. What it is every year I go through a process of checking on my basic spiritual ideas, and am I actually living them? Because we can read them, but it's the process, and this is what the human journey is. It's what the spiritual journey is. It's allowing them to go into practice. So we're just going to review them and say, where am I on this? Where am I on that? How does this feel? Have I really integrated that to look a little deeper at that? So that'll be this afternoon in the chapel. I'm looking forward to that. Then I'm going to be working with creative stress. For those of you who don't know James O'D, he was the president of the Institute of Noetic Sciences. He has worked in a field of just where are we with our minds and our brains and evolution. The book Creative Stress, which I have contacted him, and I'm hoping he's going to give us a whole bunch of them, but if not, we will get you copies of them if you'd like them. I want to just share something from it. This is his way of saying, he said, what is the number one gift I could give humanity? And he said it would be the ability to take the things that squeeze us, that stress us, that shut us down, and find a way that we can evolve through them, make them into something higher. And so his belief is that every time we get that wham, like I'm just shutting down and our minds go blank, there's a process and a practice that he's used and others have used, and it's based on science, and it's based on truly on spirituality, because it's based on getting quiet and listening. But it's a process, and it's fabulous. And his comment was, he said, creative stress is the energy and the potential of your deeper, wiser self drawing you upwards towards fulfillment, authenticity, and integrity. This energy does not seek either the easiest or the hardest way. How many of us have thought it always takes the hardest path? It looks for the most accurate way to allow you to express the qualities of your higher being. Stress is designed to evolve us. His belief was that stress was an evolutionary driver. Anybody make any changes in maybe their belief about systemic racism or any other idea in the last 4 years? Stress is an evolutionary driver. It moves us to expand beyond that. I believe in our individual lives it does. So I just wanted to share a little bit about creative stress. At the very least, we'll have copies of the first 2 chapters when you get there, and that's Wednesday nights. I want to say in the Sunday service, we have some wonderful things coming up. Next week, I will be here and sharing the platform with Celeste Myers, and Celeste is going to share some of her wisdom. Will you stand just for a minute? I just want you to introduce you to Celeste. She is one of my mentors and has taught many of us. Many of us, you know the wisdom that she shared with us, and so I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be an exciting time. And then the following week, we actually have LaRonda Steele and the Portland Interfaith Gospel Choir here, and we have, and then speaking will be Karen Trusty and a professor from, I believe it's Portland State University, and again, we're looking at the civil rights era and this movement of spirit that happened then and how it affects us today. So I think it'll be a powerful way to just move through this journey this year, and what a blessing. I want to say welcome to all of you who are here for the first time. What we know is that every one of us is on a spiritual journey, and we're spiritual beings having this human experience, and it's divine, right as it is, the things we like and we don't like. And what I wanted to say to you is, if this community works for you, I'd encourage you to become a part. I believe we have to learn how to gather together. We have to find a way to say, this is who we are, this is how we stand, this is what we hold, and to learn the things that will take us further on our spiritual journey. If it does not work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking. Find a place that does say, yes, I am so much more than I knew, and I too have gifts to share. All right, and then we are going into
I am open.
I am open. We are singing I am open, so I'd invite you to stand. Okay, I am open.
All right, here we go. I am open. I am open. I am open. I am open to receive the God in you and me. I am open, yes I am. I am open. Ooh.
Okay, you are open. You are open. Yes, you are open. You are open to receive the God in you and me. You are open. You are open. You are open to receive the God in you and me. Okay, we are open. We are open. We are open. We are open to receive the God in you and me. We are open. We are open. Yeah. We are open to receive the God in you and me. The God in you and me. The God in you and me. Yeah. The God in you and
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I just invite you to turn to those around you with a handshake or just a welcome. You don't have to shake hands. Say, good to have you here. Thank you all. Yes. All right, this service, some of you realize, some of you don't, is our white stone ceremony. So it's a different order of service. We're not going to do the meditation right now. We're going to go into it in the middle of the message. And I just want to share a little bit, and then I'll explain more. Some of you got a white stone when you came in. Most of you did not, and that's what we want, because the white stone you'll be receiving is from the Holy Land. It's from somewhere between Bethlehem and Hebron. And it is, these stones they're beautiful. If you get them wet, you can actually see different little lines, and every one of them is different. And so we're going to be doing a ceremony that I'll explain more as we go on. But I just invite you to remember, I'm open. What am I open to? I'm open to the messages of Spirit, to the remembering. And there is always a knowledge within our being of the divine essence that we are. No matter how much we've been told, no, it's not there, or anything, the truth is it is, and it's in every breath. And so we're going to hear a wonderful, wonderful song, and then we'll go into a message and just remember that there is a cellular remembering that happens individually, collectively, and globally.
So rich, flooding the universe, and light so bright, shining forever in me. The chains of this world will fall aside when I open my heart to what's inside. There is more than I need, so much more than I see. There brilliantly shining in me. There is more than I need, so much more than I see. There is life ever flowing and breathing in me. The light of creation, abundant and free, is brilliantly shining in me. Abundantly living and free forever in me. Life so rich, flooding the universe, and light so bright, shining forever in me. The chains of this world will fall aside when I open my heart to what's inside. There is more than I need, so much more than I see. There is life ever flowing and breathing in me. The light of creation, abundant and free, is brilliantly shining in me. There is more than I need, so much more than I see. There is life ever flowing and breathing in me. The light of creation, abundant and free, is brilliantly shining in me. There is more than I need, so much more than I see. There is life ever flowing and breathing in me. The light of creation, abundant and free, is brilliantly shining in me. There is more than I need, so much more than I see. There is life ever flowing and breathing in me. The light of creation, abundant and free, is brilliantly shining in me. Abundantly living and free forever in me. Forever in me.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. The light of creation is forever in me. Sometimes it's so easy to read that or to hear that and think, yes. And it's really safe in here. Have you ever noticed that? It's so wonderful. We can breathe it in, we can take it in, but then we go out into our daily lives. And it looks like stuff comes up that isn't what it is. And yet the truth is that we live in a world where there is what I have always been heard, I can remember at 5 years old being told we live in two different worlds. And there's this world that we can see, all the world we can see around us. And then there's the world of spirit. And that both of those worlds are part of who we are. But most of us are taught to see out there. And so as we begin this new year, when we begin saying, what's happening within me? And I always heard it, the absolute and the relative. So there is an absolute, unchanging essence. It's the quantum field that we live and move and have our being in. There's so many names for it throughout eternity, but there is this essence and this vibration, and it's real. And we, with our thoughts and our ideas and who we are, and when we get silent and meditate, we allow that wisdom to move through us because it's who we are and we're created from that place. But how often do we just look at the outer world and say, that's reality, and I don't like it? A lot of times it's, well, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. What we get to do as we move into, and it's still a new year, it is still, it's the second Sunday in 2023, and there's still 357 days left of this year. So if it feels like it's gotten old, that is 8,579 hours left of 2023. So we have plenty of time to do the remembering and the ideas that we wanted. And what I actually love doing this a little bit later in the year. Often we do it the first Sunday, but we didn't because it was the first. Because they say by the third day, 3/4 of the intentions, or not the intentions, the goals and the ideas of, my resolutions, they're all gone. And now we're back to where we are. And my intention and desire for every one of us in this room is that we continue on the path of remembering who we are, of claiming that, and then allowing it to move through us as we live our lives. And I don't think that we're designed to live what we've often been told of these perfect lives. I love Brene Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. And I read through it yearly just to remind myself, wait a minute. There's nothing about perfection. We're perfect and whole and complete just as we are, with all of the messiness and all of the pieces and all of those ideas. And so here we are. And Maya Angelou said, each of us has the possibility to invent ourselves daily. If a person doesn't invent herself, she will be invented. Many of us, to this point, have been told who and what we are, what our capabilities are, and the truth of our being. But that's not real. And then she says, so to be bodacious enough to invent ourselves is wise. And I believe it's not an inventing that comes from our minds. It's a sacred knowing that comes from our hearts. And that we can stand in whatever's happening in our world, and we can begin to breathe and understand and hold an idea that's larger than we may have been told we were. But it still doesn't even touch what the infinite presence knows of us. And so this morning, I know we're going to move into some of the opportunities of that. And in a little while, we'll have a meditation and we'll begin saying, who am I? What am I? And yet the ability to look at our lives and to begin just with the idea of, I am more than this. And then we say, what else is possible here? What else is possible here? And sometimes we can't change what it is. But we can do this, or we can do this. Or we can find within that, we know who we are and we stand in a different place. And when we stand in a different place, everything around us has to shift. Everything. We know in quantum physics that as we claim what something is, and that includes ourselves, we actually begin forming and shaping matter. This universe isn't a set anything until we say that is bad. And we've just told the universe what we expect it to be. How many times during our week do we do that? How many, so a lot of this is shifting and opening our minds and our hearts to what else is possible here. What if I was born with original blessing? And I have been an infinite creation of spirit my whole life. And everything that has been said of what I'm not is not the truth. It's somebody's mindset that may have become systemic. It may have become culture. It may have become whatever it is, but it's not the truth. And what the universe is doing is pulling. Anybody notice that? The evolutionary impulse pulls us until we say, what else is possible? And we get to do it about our idea of who we are and what we are and how we are able to live in our world and how we touch the world around us. I am statements make such a difference. I am who we believe we are. Because many of us were taught words and ideas that are not true. And so to get those out and to pull them out is a constant, daily practice. And this daily practice, because it opens us to the unknown. And we have to be willing to live in the unknown. How many of us look forward to living in the unknown? Anybody? I don't see. Okay, we have 3 hands. We have 3 of us. And I'm not saying I do either. I like my known. Deepak Chopra says, I have projected the same images day after day, becoming a prisoner to the known. But the known is dead and past now. And I must buy my ticket to freedom by embracing the fresh and the unknown. The dead is past right now. Every thought you've had about yourself is over. And the only reason we bring them up is we created these little ruts in our brain, and they're known, and they're wagon wheels, and we just stay there. But the truth is, we can create new ones. And that's the path of life. It's hard not to love ourselves. It's just as hard to love ourselves. Choose your heart is kind of what it comes down to. It's hard to do these practices, and we can say they didn't work. And I will guarantee you, it takes more than 2 days. It really does. This spiritual practice of recreating and remembering becomes a practice. And so my invitation for every one of us as we look at 2023 is to begin the practice. Now, I may want to be there, and I may be back here, but every moment I can say, what else is possible here? What else is possible here? Can I breathe a little deeper? Can I open my arms a little wider? Can I love where I haven't loved up until now? And love is just simply letting go of the fear, letting go of anything that says I am not enough, and being kind to the world around us. It has honesty, it has integrity, but it has that movement. And so I look at that, and this last week we said goodbye to Barbara Walters. And I looked at that beautiful life, and I thought, she had the courage to say, what else is possible here? When others hadn't. And I know that at the same time she said that, there may have been a dozen others, 25 others who said the same thing, and theirs didn't move as far or as fast, but they had the courage to say, what else is possible here? And they are part of the change. We're all a part of the change. But she just kept going, and she becomes somebody to me that every time I see her, I just hear these words, what else is possible here? Who am I? Because what she was taught was, she was supposed to take, what was it, a home ec class, or that was basically what she was learning, and she was becoming what they said was a secretary. And that was what she thought she was supposed to do. Isn't it fascinating when we let go of what we think we are and what we think we're supposed to do, there's something more. And so when we have that possibility of both saying, what else is possible here? And then the work it takes to follow that answer. So we get to question, and then we get to take the steps to follow the answer, even when it doesn't look like it's possible. How many times did she go into something that hadn't been done and have to say, what else is possible here? And then walk through the barrier. That's what we're doing. Some of us are doing it for our families. There's a good possibility that there may be very few people in your family who have ever said, what else is possible in the belief of who I am and who they are? That I could be a creation of spirit, that they could be a creation of spirit, that we could all be travelers on this spiritual journey of evolution. And that we really are, as Rumi says, we're the universe becoming aware of itself. And when Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you, he wasn't talking about someplace up in the sky. He was talking about an infinite intelligence that I believe Jesus was very clear on quantum physics. He understood that where two or more are gathered, there am I in the midst of you. I am is the intelligence, the wisdom, not a being, but it's a wisdom. And that's true with all of us. When we gather with an idea, how evolution happens is more people come over and say, oh yes, I'm whole, you're whole, they're whole. All of us are whole. And who we are as humanity can stand in that. And we're being asked to in ever-increasing ways. And so part of the journey is remembering who we are. And so in just a moment, we're going to open up and we're going to begin saying to the universe, what would you have me called? Now, the white stone ceremony is one it was a sacred one, and I'm going to go into just I want to share this. Albert Einstein said, there comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge, but can never prove how it got there. I find that I can usually tell you what didn't work, but when we break through in these mind where our minds have been and the beliefs they've had, because that's what we're doing. We're letting go of small stories for larger stories, but I can't often tell you what got me there. But I know that it was poking at this, poking at that, and gradually something moved forward. It was like, of course I'm that. Of course I'm a creation of spirit. I remember when I began trying to say that I am a child of God and I am beautiful, creative, and express light in all that I do. And I thought, I'm lying. This is ridiculous. And I remember I was like 20, 21. I was ill, and I was having some real serious health challenges. And I thought, the universe is going to know I'm lying. So what good does that do? Now I can't even imagine those thoughts. But what it takes us to get from, if those were just old beliefs that somehow I gathered, I didn't grow up with them in my family, but my family grew up with them in their family very, very clearly, and it was around, and it was like, who you are, and we've just grown up with centuries of this, and now we are breaking it free. And so the audacity to say, I'm a creation of the infinite. And my body is filled with divine light and divine intelligence, and the intelligence of the universe, this, they call it the 0-point energy field. When you get down to nothing in mathematics, nothing works. We don't get rockets off the ground. We don't get things to the moon unless you work with the 0-point energy field. It's a creative intelligence that's always present that has to be figured in. I call that God. I call that the creative energy of the universe. You can call it whatever name you want. But there's an energy that will create through us. And so we're going to be opening to that idea of the energy of the universe to come through us. And we've been given this new year, and I love New Year's. And I keep them as long as I can. I often know the hours just because I want to hold that space of what else can be present here. And at the end of the year, my intention is that some of the things that bound me before no longer bind me. I'd like to say I'm at enlightenment, but somehow I've realized I'm still on the journey, and all of us are, and I don't want to say we always will be, because I know that this sacred journey is evolving through us, but we don't have to ask for that. Instead, we can ask for the divine light to move through us. But I try to just open up to something more. Now, Pierre Teilhard Chardin was the first one that I'm aware of that said, the energy of the universe, the quantum essence, it's love. It's simply love. Which means if we can take it, what would happen if we simply said, I'm a creation of love. Love created me, love loves me, and love loves through me. How different would our daily journey be? That's who we are. That's the life of who we are. And so holding those ideas, these words of truth are the language of prayer, of movement, of allowing that. And so in just a moment, our ushers are going to come forward, and you're going to have an opportunity to choose a stone. And also, I want you to get a pencil. But before you do, I want to talk a little bit about this stone, because the stones in the Holy Land, white stones, represented freedom. If you were jailed, which means you committed a crime, and you had served your term, then you received a white stone. And that white stone, then you kept for the rest of your life with you, because it signified that you had served your term and that you were free. Now, when I was in Nigeria, I was surprised at how white stones were used there. And they were used. And it was an experience, and it had to do with people gathering together. And I thought this was another interesting aspect. And again, now that I've been to Egypt, and I watched the sacredness of some of the stones, and this gentleman in a store tried to convince me that I had to have this beautiful vase because it was a white stone vase. And I kept thinking, yeah, and right now I have to buy a new suitcase to come home already. How am I going to be able to put this thing in? But he just kept saying, it's a white stone. And I just kept saying, yes. But it was beautiful. And what I realized was, he said, every home must have this. And 3 people that were from that area came in, and they're all buying these white stone pieces for their homes. And I just looked at that and I thought, I wonder what this means. But you could see the sacredness in this. In Nigeria, what it represented and what it taught me was that I was in a room of black men sitting in a circle. And before we went into a village, we met with the chiefs. And they put a white stone on your arm, on your hand, on your wrist. They marked your wrist with a white stone to let you know that they would fight to the death for you if you were being taken into slavery. And it was that ancient, and it was that what it was. Now, I was the only one in there that the white stone didn't show up on. And let me tell you, when I realized what that ceremony was, I was in awe that hundreds of years later, this was still a sacred ceremony binding people together. And I realized how much I was a part of that and the ability to look at that. So that's an aside, but I want us to realize when we have the courage to say, what's a new name for me? What is something more I can know about myself? We affect the whole world. Every time one being, just like Barbara Walters says, what else is possible here? How many other people in their lives say, well, if they can do that, I can do this. Or if they can do that, I can do this. So it's a level of consciousness. And so you're going to get a white stone. But when you get it, what I'd like you to do is, and many of them are covered in a little card. They usually just come like this, but they are covered in a little card because they want you to know where they come from now. I'm so grateful that he does this for us. It's wonderful. When we used to use tiles, and they're not nearly as effective as white stones from the Holy Land. But when you do that, I want you to claim your freedom. I don't want you just to take a stone. And if you have a stone, I want you to claim your freedom. Every one of us has been bound by something in our lives up to this point. And my invitation is to stand in the freedom to choose new thoughts, to know yourself in a higher way, and to live in that place. So our ushers are going to come forward, and they're going to be handing these out. And I'm going to be talking about this ceremony a little bit. And just what you're going to do is we're going to go into a meditation in a moment, and we're going to say, Spirit, what would you have me know? How would you have me named? Now, what I do know about the Holy Land and that whole part of the world is that every name represents a quality. And I saw this in Egypt. You could ask. In fact, I was wishing I had my metaphysical Bible dictionary because it's an easy way to look up, all these different names and what they mean in Aramaic and Hebrew and some of the other languages. But I wanted to know what do these mean? What qualities? But in the Bible and in that whole part of the world, every time there's a name, a place, and a name with a name, or a person with a name, it means a quality. So if you look at many of the Unity ministers in Nigeria, their children are named Faith and Serenity, and or names that mean those things. And they do that because they're acknowledging a quality and honoring a quality in them. If you look at Bethlehem, it means house of bread. It means that place, so a city means a house of, so a conglomeration of something. And it means that which allows us to live. Jerusalem means habitation of peace. Now, many of us run from Jerusalem as soon as we get up in the morning with our thoughts, but we can also make that journey back. So we're going to say, this is a new name. You're choosing your freedom. Spirit, what would you have me know? What would you have me, how would you have me named? Some of you know of name changes in the Bible. It's one of the places where you can see it, where Saul, which means personal will. Not all these names mean really positive things, but it means personal will. After 3 days of being quiet and finally saying, okay, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, of killing all these people and doing all this, he was struck to his knees. 3 days later, he went and he became Paul. And that means that idea, which means enlightened will, the ability to do, but to do from God or from Spirit. And so the opportunity right now is to just say, Spirit, what would you have me know? What would you have me called? Last year, as I got quiet and listened, the word I got was listen. And I said, no, that one's not, I don't like that one. And and I just want to invite you. And then that was all that came up. And then later I was like, I could put down this or this or this. And I ended up going home and sitting down. And all I could hear was that song, Listen, Listen, Listen to My Heart Song. And so I finally wrote down Listen. And I was amazed as I had my white stone with me during the year how much Listen came up. It was so powerful. So, whatever you ask, whatever it is, just begin choosing your freedom. And then take the stone out from the card and hold it in your hand. And you'll need a pencil. So in a moment, we're going to pass around pencils. Good, Beth has some. If you need a pencil. And the reason is that pens don't usually write on these white stones. When you get out, I would encourage you to put a Sharpie on it. But we'll just do that. I wanted to say, I've been doing this many, many years. And as I listen, and some of you will listen during the meditation and nothing will come, just keep listening. And somewhere in the next day, day and a half, 2 days, something will be there. And it's just trusting that journey. I remember when my dad made his transition, and the night before he had said, I couldn't ask for anything more in my life. And his biggest fear was being ill and going through a long, prolonged thing. And he passed away of a heart attack the next day. In his pocket was a stone that said, Live Life. And he'd been carrying it for 9 months at that point. And I realized he had done things he had never done in his life and experienced a sense of family and coming together that he just, the night before, he said, I couldn't ask for anything more. I've done everything I need to do. I'm happy. And it was a fascinating thing to watch and go, wow, look at this. It's like we can begin to hold a space for ourselves in a place of knowing. So let me share with you some of what goes on as far as the white stone and where it comes from. And I haven't found that yet. Okay, here it is. It comes from Revelations. And in Revelations, there's a place where John talks about the people being given a new name. We read, let anyone who has an ear to listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. And the churches, remember, those letters from Paul and other places, when they said a church, it meant a gathering of like minds. So whatever, and they actually believed that they were people whose thoughts were turned towards God. At that time, that's what it meant. So, it's a gathering of people whose thoughts are turned towards something higher. To everyone who conquers, I will give some of the hidden manna. And that means whoever can see beyond appearances. How many times have we thought we didn't have what we needed to get through the day? And we did. We do all the time. There isn't enough here. The truth is, enough is present and available in the universal intelligence. It's always there. It's us opening to that. And so there's always enough for every day. And I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it. And that was a time when it was believed that the people that had overcome, you'd served your sentence, you had made your connection with God, they received a new name when you moved into that place. And the name is given directly to them by God. Nobody else gives it to them. No one else is aware of the new name. It's a new nature in them. And that white stone represents your freedom from bondage. And then it represents the opening to a new name. And so, Michael, I'm going to have you come up, and we're just going to start. Does everybody have a white stone? So hold that, claim, and does everybody have a pencil? And if you don't, when you go out, by the way, there are some Sharpies out there. If you want to, on the table, hopefully, and if you want to, when you're done, you can, or when you get home, you can go over it with a Sharpie, and it stays much better. But we're not going to do 110 Sharpies this morning. And so we're just going to go into meditation, and I would just invite you, as the music plays, to get quiet, to hold your white stone, and to consciously, and if you still need a white stone, you can raise your hand, and they'll get you one, and to consciously invite the activity of the infinite intelligence. You might call it God, you might call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it whatever you want to. You can call it love, but to invite it into your heart and your mind for the next few minutes. And to claim, I am open and receptive to God's living spirit of truth. I am open to your message for me, to your name, that divine quality that I am. And I open to what you would have me know. It might be something new I'm to learn or to do or to be in my life or to know. But I just invite all of us to give our human self a few minutes off and to surrender to the presence and the power of God. We let our divine holy self come through. I am. We breathe in this sacred I am. That understanding, that deeper understanding that's been known for all of eternity around the world. I'm holding a piece of the world in my hand, and I'm holding freedom. I am that I am. And we just become still and allow the infinite to express through us and as us. This is a symbol of a new life. All things are made new. And I am listening. Right where you are, God is speaking. The infinite is speaking within you. Deep in the very center of your being, there's a part of you daring to believe and to know that you, I, all of us have been created in the image and likeness of this infinite. I breathe this in. I am that I am. And you have called me good. And there's a part of me willing to release all old beliefs, all old attitudes that I've lived in, all the stories. I let those go and I open. I believe that as I open, I overcome. I am made new. And I listen for that quality, Spirit, that you are bringing forth in me. That name, that deeper understanding, the next step that I am to take to live, to be. I know, God, that you move through me with ideas. And I am open and receptive. I am. I am confident. I am safe. I am courage. I am blessed. And if nothing comes, know that your highest intention is to know Spirit's desire for you, as you. What is it that you ask me to embody, to live, to be, to breathe in 2023? Spirit, what is it? What would allow me to fully be that channel in my world, in my life, in my knowing, the channel for Spirit to express through and as. And I know that Spirit, this idea of, behold, I make all things new. God says, Spirit says, the universe speaks through each of us. The plans I have for you, to prosper you, to bless you, to have you know the love that you are. And Spirit reminds us, oh beautiful one, your eye has not seen, nor has your ear heard, or your heart yet known the good that I have for you, as you open me and allow me to know that higher, deeper knowledge. Allow me to be called as Spirit. And as that name becomes clear to you, as we open and simply allow that understanding to happen through us and as us, I just invite you to write that name on your stone. It may be a title, a new career, a new idea. Grateful. Sober. If a name has come to you, just allow yourself to write. If it hasn't, it doesn't matter. The universe has its own timing. Spirit works in divine timing. And if that name has come to you, stay quiet and ask. Allow yourself to have a deeper understanding of what that means in your life and in your journey. Are there steps to take? Always knowing I am enough. I am that I am has birthed me, loves in and through and as me. And Spirit in me, God in me, reveals my true essence. And as we go throughout this year, I just invite you to keep that stone with you as a reminder of who you are, where you can see it or hold it or touch it, of the promise of the universe, the love that you live in and has this day loves you this moment. It vibrates through you. It breathes your breath. And if no word has come, stay open and receptive to this divine living spirit of truth. It will happen in an aha. And we just say, thank you, infinite spirit, for knowing us, for reminding us that the truth of our being is always present. There's nothing that has ever happened around us that can ever take away the divine light and the presence and the power and the love that we are this moment, this breath, and the value that we have as we're a part of humanity. Walking each other home, learning to love in a higher way, learning to take another step, to let go of the old and to say yes to that new story. And for this opportunity to be a part of this journey, we say thank you, infinite spirit. We bring our time and our intention to this space, holding that stone and saying yes to the presence and power in us. And so it is. Amen. And I just invite you to breathe. You know, a couple years ago, I had someone do this at home and call me, and they said, it was about July, and they said, okay, I want you to know that I never got a word, but I kept saying yes, so I just wrote it on the stone. And I've said yes to everything that I could in my life, and I found such a different life by just yes. And I had somebody else say, this word just kept coming up, but it wasn't my word, it just kept coming up. And it was unknown. And they said, I just wrote it down because you said to write down what kept coming through your mind. And they said they met the unknown and welcomed it. These are the types of things that we never know what it is or where it is. And sometimes our mind, when I first did these years ago, and of course it was a tile that you had to like scratch a word into, I kept thinking, that might not be it. That might be me talking. And I second guessed myself. And it was a fascinating journey to even believe that I could do it. And I started doing these before I was ordained because nobody else would do them, and I wanted them done. So in order to do them, that was what I did. And I remember being so nervous, thinking, who am I? I don't even have a word. I did it yesterday, and I don't even have a word. Today I do have a word, so that's good. But it was this whole thing. My mind played a battle, just a game of who am I to do this. And I just want you to recognize we are in a room of infinite potentiality. You are the movement of spirit. And I will say again, my mother's favorite statement, and we're all bozos on the bus, thinking everybody else is perfect, and we are not. Instead, I just want to say we are all infant spirit. Sometimes I look a lot like a bozo, but the truth is I'm an infinite spirit walking my path in a way that no one else can walk. And you are here as that movement of spirit. Thank you. For those of you who are home, I want you to know that you, many of you I know wrote your words on paper. You can come into the office and get a white stone. You're welcome to do that during the week. Our office will be open Monday through Thursday, 10 to 4 this week. And I would, again, advise you to write on it with a Sharpie. Otherwise, by halfway through the year, your word's gone. So hopefully you have very good memory. But either way. And we're going to receive our tithes and our love offerings. What we've been doing is a fundraiser for our windows, and we're continuing to do that with our Christmas challenge. I believe it ends next week. But I just invite you to open to the realization that as we believe there's enough, we draw it to us. And so I believe that each one of us individually is a creation of spirit. We're a vibrating energy of life and love and presence and power, even when we get into the middle of our stuff. And when we gather together, we can create something larger as we become that blessing and that life in a community that touches other lives. The reason we have name tags is that my desire and intention for every one of us, oh good, Elaine is going to collect pencils if you want to send them over into the center aisle, because we save them, believe it or not, we use them once a year currently, and that way we have pencils. But we have name tags because I believe it's really important for us right now to connect. And it's very easy to be in our little world and not realize they're living a journey, a spiritual journey, just like we are. And so my desire is that every one of us, before we leave every Sunday, learns 3 names. I want us connected. I want us knowing that we live from the source. And I guess basically we're already connected. Somebody just told us we weren't. We're already connected. There's no place you can go that you're not connected to the universe, to the infinite, to the intelligence. Now, sometimes when I'm in the middle of whatever's blocking me at that moment, I can't remember it, but that's the truth. So we're going to receive tithes and love offerings, gratitude, saying, how are we? You can do it. Many people do it online now. Many of you are on automatic giving, which is a wonderful opportunity for us because we know whether you're here or not, it makes a difference in the community. Some people start with $1, some people start with $100. Just doing it on a regular basis. There's a blue card in the backs of your seats if you'd like to learn how to give. It's also up here. And it just offers us opportunities. Mine come out electronically when I get paid because that's the easiest way for me. So that's why you see me having this card, and these are in the back. If you'd like something to put into the offering, most of us don't use money. We'll actually start doing Venmo in the next few weeks, which is another way, of just making it easier as we adapt. We're learning individually to create a new world, and we're learning in communities and all around us. So I'm going to say our blessing, and again, I'd invite you to remember, as part of humanity, what we got to do is take off those blinders that said, I got to stay safe, and I got to just hold my little circle because that's who I am, and somebody might not believe in me. Because the only time someone doesn't believe in you or see the truth of the light that you are means that they're afraid. And they're living in fear that they've been told not everybody can be whole, infinite, and complete. They don't know that we all start that way. And so the affirmation we use is divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I just invite you to take that in with you, and let's affirm that together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
So thankful to have Leah Yorkston singing with us today. We're sing Spark of Creation.
I've got an itching on the tips of my fingers. I've got a boiling in the back of my brain. I've got a hunger burning inside me, cannot be denied. I've got a feeling that the Father who made us, when he was kindling the pulse of my veins, he left a tiny spark of that fire smoldering inside. The spark of creation is flickering within me. The spark of creation is blazing in my blood. A bit of the fire that lit up the stars and breathed life into the mud. The first inspiration, the spark of creation. I see a mountain and I want to climb it. I see a river and I want to leap shore. When there was nothing, there was something made by me. There's things waiting for me to invent them. There's worlds waiting for me to explore. I am an echo of the eternal cry of let there be. The spark of creation burning bright within me. The spark of creation won't let me rest at all until I discover or build or uncover the thing that I can call my celebration of the spark of creation. The spark of creation, may it burn forever. The spark of creation, I am a keeper of the flame. We think all we want is a lifetime of leisure, each perfect day the same, endless vacation. Well, that's all right if you're a kind of crustacean, but when you're born with an imagination, sooner or later you're feeling the fire get hotter and higher. The spark of creation.
Leah and Michael, thank you. And that's who all of us are. If you didn't get your word, try spark or creation. We are whole, infinite, creative beings. And right now what we're going to do, and I apologize, I talked a long time today. I don't know how that happens, but I do apologize. I normally stop when it's time. But we're going to sing in our youth. And remembering that we get to know it for ourselves, part of our journey, and I believe part of our responsibility on this planet, is to know it for others. So we're going to sing our youth in, and I would invite you to create an energy field of love into which they walk, and knowing that they are the divine light, the creative, infinite presence and power. We're going to sing them in. Okay.
Here we go. You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. And how we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow.
Good morning. I have a few words. I have a request to ask of you. As you can see, we're beginning to grow ourselves back, and we're all very happy about that. What makes it even more wonderful is that I can ask you for your volunteer hours. Because as of right now, 1 or 2 people, this is a little difficult to do. And we really want to serve the children as best we can in the most meaningful way that we can, and that takes adults. So we need some adults for our middle schoolers, for our high schoolers, which if you'll turn around, the whole big gang is up there. Wave, guys.
Yes.
There's a lot of kids up there.
Did you guys do the white stone ceremony up there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they came up to do the white stone ceremony, and that's her favorite corner, is in the balcony. So anyway, so middle school, high school, elementary, and preschool. And we need you. Think about it. There'll be education, there'll be some training, there'll be lots of love, and lots of, okay, you're fine, just keep doing it. You're fine, just keep doing it. You really can't do it wrong. There isn't anything wrong. You show up and you open your heart, and whatever else happens is what Spirit directs us to do. So please get in touch with me. I'm downstairs most of the time on a Sunday. They don't let me go to church very often. And I would love to talk to you, and there'll be a training session probably towards the end of the month, maybe the first part of February. Okay?
And there's curriculum that goes with this.
And lots of curriculum.
How I learned basically everything I teach, and to get it into small enough pieces, and everything I learned was doing youth and family ministry for about 15 years before that. Oh, that's all right. So we are going to stand and sing Let There Be Peace on Earth, and Let It Begin With Me. We're holding this place for our planet.
Here we go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
All right. And we recognize that as this essence of humanity, we are so blessed. We're going to close with our unity prayer, and then we're going to sing our kids out before we leave, because then they get safely back to their classrooms so parents can pick them up, which is something we haven't had to do since 2020. And then we invite you downstairs for connection hour. If you're taking a class, I'm going to start at 12:45, 12:50, just so everybody can get coffee and whatever else. And we just hold this space. So we say, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right. And we say thank you. You guys ready?
Here we go. You are the star of the morning. You are